Hi everyone, our topic is all about the developmental theories and other relevant theories. Topic: Sigmund Freud's Psychosexual theory. Sigmund Freud emphasized the importance of the unconscious mind, and primary assumption of Freudian theory is that the unconscious mind governs behavior to a greater degree than people suspect. Indeed, the goal of psychoanalysis is to make the unconscious conscious. Freud believed that even in our childhood have a great influence on our adult lives, shaping our personality. For example, is anxiety originating from traumatic experience in a person's past is hidden from consciousness and may cause problems during adulthood in the form of neurosis. One importance of Sigmund Freud's psychosexual theory is his emphasis on early childhood experience and the development of personality and as influence on later behavior. The three components and personality adjustment. Freud also conceptualized the personality as having three parts. Number one, ID. The ID is the primitive and instinctual part of the mind that contains sexual and aggressive drives and hidden memories. Ego. Ego, the realistic part that mediates between the desires of the ID and the superego. Superego. Superego is the part of a person's mind or personality that tells them how to behave based on the learned and morals and values. Psychosexual stage of development. Oral stage 0 to 1. 0 to 1-year-old man, oral desire is the center of the pressure of the newborn baby. The earliest attach of a baby is to one that provides gratification to his oral needs, usually his mother, which at this stage in life are oral or mouth-oriented such as sucking, biting, and breastfeeding. Anal stage 1 to 3 years. The period of human development occurring at about 1 to 3 years of age. Around this age, the child begins to toilet train, which brings about the child's fascination in the erogenous zone of the anus. The erogenous zone is to focus on the bowel and bladder control. Phallic stage 3 to 5 or 6 years. The phallic stage is the third stage of psychosexual development, spanning the age of 3-6 years, wherein the infant libido desire center upon their genitalia as the erogenous zone. The child becomes aware of anatomical sex difference, which set in motion the conflict between erotic attraction, resentment, rivalry, jealousy, and fear, which Freud called the Oedipus complex, and boys at the Electra complex in the girls. Oedipus complex, the most important aspect of the phallic stage is the Oedipus complex. This is one of Freud's most controversial ideas and one that many people reject outright. Latency stage 5 to 6 to puberty. No further psychosexual development takes place during this stage. Latent means hidden. The libido is dormant. During this stage, the libido is dormant and no further psychosexual development takes place. Latent means hidden. Genital stage and puberty, adult. At this time of adolescent sexual experimentation, the successful resolution of which sitting down in a loving one-to-one relationship with other person in their 20s, sexual instinct is directed to the heterosexual pressure rather than self-pressure like during the symbolic stage. Week 5, Unit 2, Development Theories and Other Relevant Theories. Piaget Stage of Cognitive Development. Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development suggests that intelligence changes as children grow. A child's cognitive development is not just about acquiring knowledge. The child has to develop or construct a mental model of the world. Cognitive development occurs through the interaction of innate capacities and environmental events, and children pass through a series of stages. Basic cognitive concepts. Schema. Piaget used the term schema to refer to the cognitive structures by which individuals intellectually adapt to and organize their environment. It is individuals' way to understand or create meaning about a thing or experience. Assimilation. This is the process of fitting a new experience into existing or previous created cognitive structures or schema. Accommodation. This is a process of creating a new schema. If the same child now sees another animal that looks a little bit like a dog but somehow different. Equilibration. Piaget believed that people have the natural need to understand how the world works and find order, structure, and predictability in their life. Equilibration is achieving proper balance between assimilation and accommodation. Piaget's stage of cognitive development. Stage 1, sensory-motor stage. The term sensory-motor focuses on the prominence of the senses and muscle movement through which the infant comes to learn about himself and the world. And in working with children in the sensory-motor stage, teachers should aim to provide a rich and stimulating environment with appropriate object to play with. Object permanence. This is the ability of the child to know that an object still exists even when out of the sight. This is ability is to attend and sensory-motor stage. Stage 2, pre-operational stage. The pre-operational covers from about 2 to 7 years old, roughly corresponding to the preschool years. This stage is heightened by the following. Symbolic function. This is the ability to represent objects and events. Ecocentrism. This is a tendency of the child to only see this point of view and assume that everyone also has same point of view. The child cannot take the perspective of others. Centration. This refers to the tendency of the child to only focus on one aspect of a thing or event and include other aspects. Irreversibility. Pre-operational children still have the inability to reverse their thinking. Animism. This is the tendency of children to attribute human-like traits, thinking, or characteristics to the animate object. Transductive reasoning. This refers to the pre-operational child type of reasoning that neither inductive or deductive. Stage 3. Concrete operational stage. This stage is characterized by the ability of child to think logically but only in terms of concrete object. The concrete operational stage is marked by the following. Decentering. This refers to the ability of the child to perceive the different features of object and situation. Reversibility. During the stage of concrete operations, the child can now follow that certain operation can be done in reverse. Conservation. This is the ability to know that certain properties of object like number, mass, volume, or area do not change, even if there is a change in appearance. Seriation. This refers to the ability to order or arrange things in a series based on the dimensions such as weight, volume, or size. Stage 4. Formal operational stage. In the final stage of formal operation covering age between 12 to 15 years, thinking becomes more logically. They can now solve abstract problems and can hypotheses. This stage is characterized by the following. Hypothetical reasoning. This is the ability to come up with different hypotheses about a problem and gather and weigh data in order to make final decision or judgment. Analogical reasoning. This is the ability to perceive the relationship in one instance and then use that relationship to narrow down possible answers in other similar situation or problem. Deductive reasoning. This is the ability to think logically by applying a general rule to a particular instance or situation. Week 6. Topic: Erikson's Psychosocial Theory of Development. Erikson described the following 8 stages. Trust and mistrust. From birth to 12 months, the infant forms of loving, trusting relationship with a caregiver. If this stage is not negotiated successfully, the infant may be mistrustful, fearful, and anxious about the future. Autonomy versus shame. 1 to 3 years. Infant and toddlers begin to explore their world and assert their independence. Initiative versus guilt. 3 to 6 years. The preschooler needs to rely on active, purposeful behavior more and more as their environment presents new challenges and demands more responsibility. Industry and inferiority. 6 to 12 years. The school-age child must learn to deal with demands to learn wide range of skills, including the tasks of a formal schooling. Identity versus role confusion. 12 to 18 years old. The primary task at this developmental stage is the formation of the sense of personal identity with regard to such things as opinions. Intimacy versus isolation. Young adulthood. At this stage, individuals face the task of performing intimate relationship with others. Generatability versus stagnation. Middle adulthood. The focus of this stage is on the parenting. By generativity, Erikson means helping the next generation to develop and lead useful lives. Integrity versus despair. Late adulthood. If the individual has been successful in resolving the crisis associated with earlier stage, when he or she looks back on her life, it will be with feeling satisfaction and fulfillment. That's all my report, and thank you.